Okay, so if your perfect work setup involves, say, a fan running, a podcast playing, and a sitcom you've seen a million times on in the background, you're not just easily distracted. What you're doing, it's not a sign of a broken attention span. It is actually a brilliant, brilliant strategy your brain is using to protect itself. I bet this sounds super familiar, right? Maybe your partner or your family thinks you're just wired weirdly for needing the TV on just to answer a few emails. Well, stick with me, because we are about to decode what's really happening in that beautiful, complicated brain of yours.
So on one side, you have what society tells you, that you lack focus or you're easily distracted. But what's really going on inside your head is something else entirely. Your brain is actually executing a genius survival strategy to protect your nervous system and create a sense of safety. So, how does it work?
Well, first things first, we have to tackle the biggest myth out there, the idea that complete, total silence is the ultimate key to focus. For a huge number of people, that's just, well, it's not true. It completely misses the mark on how their nervous systems actually operate.
And this right here is the crucial point. For a brain that's wired to be on the lookout, a quiet room doesn't feel peaceful. It feels like suspense. You know that moment in a scary movie right before something jumps out? That's what silence feels like. It's just pure tension.
So why? Why does silence feel like suspense? It all comes down to a psychological state known as hyper-vigilance. You can basically think of your brain as this super advanced threat detection machine that never really switches off. This state, hyper-vigilance, is often connected to things like sensory processing sensitivity or past trauma. And it's so important to get that it's not a conscious choice you're making. It is a deeply ingrained reflex where your nervous system is just perpetually on guard, scanning for anything that feels out of place.
So in a completely silent room, a hypervigilant brain just goes into overdrive. It has to stay on high alert, trying to process every single potential sound, every tiny floorboard creak, every distant siren, every little shift in the air. It's even analyzing the silence itself, just waiting for it to be broken.
And here's the real consequence. All of that constant scanning, it uses up a massive amount of mental energy. It completely maxes out your cognitive load, leaving basically no bandwidth left over to actually concentrate on that report, or to finally drift off to sleep.
But this is where your brain's genius strategy really kicks in. To solve this problem of unpredictable, scary silence, you subconsciously start to build what we're calling a sonic blanket.
See, you're actively taking control of your sound environment. By layering these familiar noises, you're not distracting yourself. No, you are building a protective barrier, a wall of predictable sound that blocks out all those startling, unexpected noises that put your nervous system on edge.
And the difference is huge. A sudden, random noise, that signals a potential threat, and your brain has to investigate. But your sonic blanket, that sitcom you've seen 100 times, it's completely predictable. It signals safety and basically gives your hypervigilant nervous system permission to finally stand down.
This is my absolute favorite analogy for this. A cat's purr has this low, rhythmic frequency that just instinctively tells our bodies to relax. Well, your background noise does the exact same thing. It is a steady signal to your primal brain that you are safe and no vigilance is required.
And I bet so many of you will recognize this exact process. You start with a base layer, right? A fan or a white noise machine. Then you layer in some familiar, predictable voices from a podcast or a show you know by heart. The key is there are no surprises, and that is exactly the point. It's like you're building a cognitive blanket for it.
But we have to ask, where does this intense need for auditory protection even come from? It didn't just pop up out of nowhere. For many of us, this hypervigilance started a long time ago. So here's the crucial question. What trained your brain to be this way? Why is it so convinced that it needs to be on guard 24/7?
For a lot of people, this whole reflex was wired way back in childhood. If you grew up in a home that felt chaotic or unpredictable, your nervous system learned very early on that it had to stay on high alert just to anticipate the moods or needs of the adults around you.
And this is such a powerful insight. In some households, silence was not a sign of peace. It was a sign of tension. It meant the adults were upset and you were just anxiously waiting for the other shoe to drop. So now as an adult, when things are calm and quiet, your body still kind of reacts as if it's unsafe.
Okay, so here it is. This is the big reframe I want you to walk away with. This habit isn't something to be ashamed of. It's something to be understood as a pretty profound strength. So let's just be perfectly crystal clear. Needing background noise to function is not an attention deficit. It is not a character flaw, and it is absolutely not a sign that you are broken.
Instead, I really want you to see this for what it is. It's a sophisticated, brilliant form of emotional regulation. It is a self-soothing skill that you developed all on your own to make yourself feel safe enough to function in the world.
So when it comes down to it, you're not distracting yourself. You are actively managing your psychological environment. You are creating the conditions that you need to exist comfortably in your own skin.
So the next time someone tells you to turn off the TV so you can concentrate, you can feel confident knowing you're just wrapping your nervous system in your sonic blanket. You're giving your brain the safety and predictability it needs to finally power down or to focus and do its absolute best work.
So I have to ask you, what's your sonic blanket recipe? Is it a true crime podcast and an air purifier? A comfort sitcom and the hum of the fridge? Drop your personal combination in the comments below. I promise this is a safe space. And if this explainer finally put a name to something you felt your whole life, please subscribe so we can keep decoding our amazing brains together.